Virginia Congressman Gerry Connolly passed away. We got the official confirmation just a short time ago. Connolly served parts of Northern Virginia for more than 40 years. He was a county supervisor, but has been representing parts of Northern Virginia in Congress since 2009. Stephanie Ramirez joins us now with more on his life and legacy. Steph?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we are headed actually to Representative Connolly's Fairfax office to talk with some more this morning. But we can read you some of the statement issued by the family on the representative's social media page. The first graph here starting with, "It is with immense sadness that we share that our devoted and loving father, husband, brother, friend, and public servant, Congressman Gerald E. Connolly, passed away peacefully at his home this morning, surrounded by family." The statement goes on, but I can tell you guys, Gerry Connolly, Representative Connolly, as we know him in the Northern Virginia area, he announced last month that he was stepping down as the top Democrat on the very important, very powerful House Oversight Committee and not seeking re-election next year after his cancer returned. He was battling esophageal cancer. Yeah, he lived a life of public service, as you were mentioning, guys, serving some 9 terms in the House of Representatives for Virginia's 11th district. That includes Fairfax and other parts of Northern Virginia. He served 14 years on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors before that, serving and working with Virginia leader, State Senator Scott Saraval as well. And he is among those remembering Representative Connolly this morning.
Well, you know, it's a sad day for Northern Virginia, and it's a sad day for the entire DMV region. You know, Gerry's been sort of a force of nature in politics since he first got active in the Mantua community back in the 1980s. You know, he was the chairman of our Board of Supervisors for years. He played a big role in getting the Silver Line extended out to Dulles Airport. You know, he's always been a very forceful voice for economic development in our area, for the values that Northern Virginia represents. You know, he's currently the ranking member of the Government Oversight Committee, which is the committee which oversees government contracting, which is an absolutely huge part of our economy here in Northern Virginia. He's basically devoted his life to making Northern Virginia and the DMV a wonderful place to live. And, you know, losing him and his voice and his passion, his energy is a real loss for our entire community. And, you know, our heart goes out to him and his family.
Guys, Virginia State Senator Saraval there was telling me that they have a Democratic event breakfast normally, and that this past weekend, I believe it was, or the most recent one, Representative Connolly was not there when he usually goes every time, and so they knew things were serious, but didn't know it was going to be to this extent. So definitely a shock for a lot of people this morning, guys. It's very latest on the road. I'll send it back into you.
No doubt about it. All right, Stephanie, thanks very much. I want to bring in Fox 5's On the Hill host Tom Fitzgerald. And listen, Tom, I know you've worked with Congressman Connolly for years now, as have most of us. And I did have a chance to talk with his chief of staff briefly recently, and I know that they had said that the congressman was going to try to work from his home right up until the end as much as he could without being able to go back to the Hill. Just wanted to chat with you real quick about what you think his legacy would be here in Northern Virginia, and then also, obviously, this creates a void right now in Congress.
Yeah, you know, Gerry Connolly, in many ways, and he might probably been one of the first to say this, was probably one of the last of the old school Democrats up there on Capitol Hill. A lot of those clips of him doing interviews that you're looking at right now are interviews that I had done with the congressman over the course of the better part of 25 years. You know, I first met him when he was on the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, and, you know, he served for a long time as a local county leader in Fairfax County as the chair of the Board of Supervisors before he was elected to Congress. But even before then, you know, Connolly had a long career on the Hill. He had served, you know, on several congressional staffers. He had served on then Senator Joe Biden's staff at one point, and the two of them had developed an incredibly close relationship. And, you know, the timing of this news this morning of the congressman's death, you know, coming on the heels of what we just learned in the last 48 hours about the former president's health, you know, is some ways, you know, sad and remarkable. I can tell you, the former president had reached out to Connolly in just the last couple of weeks personally, when the congressman had announced the return of his esophageal cancer. As you know, he had originally dealt with a bout of this back in 2024. He had later come out and said that he had been declared cancer-free. And then, you know, sadly, earlier in the year, he had said that it had not only returned, but it had returned aggressively. And, a lot of the last couple of weeks, people were not quite sure whether or not he was going to be able to serve out the remainder of his term. Certainly, he announced he was not going to run for reelection moving forward because of his health. But, he had privately expressed to some folks on his own staff that he had deep concerns and interest in what his legacy would be. He wanted to know whether or not he made a difference. And at the end of this very, very long career, he was repeatedly assured by folks that he had. But you could see even towards the end, Gerry Connolly cared about what people thought about him and wanted to know that he did right by the people he represented and his constituents most of all.
No doubt about it. Tom, real quick, obviously, like we mentioned, he was not able to make it to the end of his term. So what happens to his seat now?
Well, the seat will remain vacant until the election. James Walkinshaw, who in many ways has been groomed to take over for Gerry Connolly by Gerry Connolly. Walkinshaw is currently a member of the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors, and he is now going to be running in the primary. One of the very first people to endorse James Walkinshaw for this seat was Gerry Connolly himself. Walkinshaw had served as chief of staff to Gerry Connolly going back to his days in the Fairfax County government before he himself was elected as a Board of Supervisors member. So a lot of the Democratic establishment in Northern Virginia and Fairfax County has now centered around following Congressman Connolly's lead in endorsing Walkinshaw. So it's widely believed that race does have a Democratic favorite in it right now. We'd have to see how things shake out on the Republican side, of course, and what the machinations of the congressional elections go forward. But this is really, you have to point out a big blow, not only to his constituents in Fairfax County, but to the region as well. Gerry Connolly, one of his, key issues was Metro. And it wasn't just Metro for his constituents. It wasn't just Metro for Virginia. It was Metro for the entire region because he had identified, the operational success of that transportation system as being key to the entire economic future of this region. And, he really went by a principle that, the water rises all boats. And Metro was a very, very big concern and importance to him. Certainly he was extremely partisan, when it came to these wars that are underway right now between Republicans and Democrats. And certainly, of late, he has represented, part of this struggle that's been going on between, the newcomers in the Democratic Party and kind of the old guard, which is what Gerry Connolly represented. He had successfully pushed back a challenge for his ranking membership position on the House Oversight Committee by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Eventually, he wound up winning that, but then, recently decided he was going to step down from that post given this medical diagnosis.
Yeah, and Tom mentioned Metro, and obviously instrumental in getting the Silver Line out to Dulles, which benefits everybody in the DMV, not just those in Fairfax County. Tom, thanks very much. I know you have a busy day ahead of you as well. Look for more from Tom throughout the day and on our social media and online digital platforms. Virginia Senator Mark Warner, by the way, did just release a statement saying, in part, I'm heartbroken over the loss of my dear friend Gerry Connolly. I have known Gerry for more than 35 years. To me, he exemplified the very best of public service. He goes on to say Gerry was a fighter. His sharp mind, boundless energy, and deep commitment to the people of Northern Virginia made him a force to be reckoned with. Whether on the Fairfax Board of Supervisors or in Congress, he met every challenge with tenacity and purpose, including his final battle with cancer, which he faced with courage, grace, and quiet dignity. And of course, continuing coverage will be on Fox Local throughout the day today, and we'll get you up to speed there as we get more information about any future plans or anything like that when it comes to Gerry Connolly. But